being good is not enough. Being good is not enough anymore. If you are not happy with what's going on around you, you as one single person can make a difference. It takes one man to change the world, just one.
If we don't pay attention and stand up and do what's right and stick up for our rights, then we will lose them.
And those actions are only possible because those kids are raised to believe that this is normal behavior, because they've never been smacked in the back of the head. That one of the biggest problems we have in society is people don't get punched in the face anymore.
Come on, how is that normal? You know it's not normal, but we have been groomed in society, and men today have been neutered over the years by complacency, by laziness, by selfishness, being distracted with video games and whatever else that's under the sun that's distracting men these days, to not do something about it.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Frankly, motivation is bullshit. What you need is discipline, and your mindset is the difference between success and failure. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
Welcome to the Nico Lagan Show, the show where we speak about solutions to the real problems our society's facing. No fluff, no political correctness, just simple truth. I'm your host, Nico Lagan, and I have the pleasure to be with Stephen Powell. Stephen Douglas Powell for the intimates. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? What a morning, huh?
Bro, this is where we need to start, because this is this is hilarious.
We have to.
Stephen and I met for the first time today.
Yeah.
We've never met before.
Nope.
But we've been following each other for months.
Yeah.
So since I left Canada, somehow I found him, because having a life coach and gun together to make an Instagram name is fucking epic.
Thanks,
I
man.
fucking loved it.
Thanks.
And you know that's how I found you originally.
Really?
Oh yeah. I was looking at the gun coaches.
Oh,
and I
gotcha.
I see life coach gun. I'm like, that's too nice. So, but we've been talking we've been chatting every now and then for months over Instagram, trying to figure something out as I'm going around the US. And finally, my motorcycle's clutch is giving me problems. The closest KTM dealer from Yuma, where I am right now, is
Anthem. Phoenix Valley.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I remembered that Steven was here. I'm like, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
So I dropped the bike this morning. So I literally left Yuma at 2:45 in the morning, drove up, went to Planet Fitness, got a quick workout,
Didn't get kicked out? Planet Fitness?
No, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But went to have a workout, dropped the motorcycle.
Yeah.
We meet at
Tempe Marketplace.
Yep. So technically, okay, let's be honest. I was late. Yeah. I lost track of time because I went to Starbucks. I have to record a live every day. So I went to Starbucks, I recorded, and I didn't really pay attention that much, but I was an hour and a half away from the gun range because I'm on the complete other side of Phoenix.
Yeah, we were going to be down at Casa Grande this morning.
So tomorrow we'll go shoot.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, for the people, this is the type of episode right now that is worth watching the video.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to put a bit of context, but there's guns on the table. There's a SCAR, which is illegal in Canada. So all my Canadian friends, there's a SCAR.
Oh, I left the SCAR. I left the SCAR in the truck. This is the Daniel Defense.
Oh,
that's the Daniel Defense AR. Yeah.
So we met up at the Barnes and Nobles in Tempe Marketplace in Tempe, Arizona.
Right.
Before Steven arrived, I go in, I speak to the lady that's running the store. She's like, you can't record here, but you can record outside. It's a public venue.
Right.
We set up everything. So we're in the middle. It's a cool place. It's like in the middle of a it's not a mall.
It's like a breezeway,
yeah.
courtyard kind of situation.
So we set up everything. We're in the middle of the sun. All the gears is everything set up. We're recording.
Mic check, go, and.
Yeah. And then security agent shows up saying that, we can't be here.
Y'all can't be here. Y'all got a permit for that?
Yeah. And it's funny. That's how he sounded. And so he tells me that I need to call property management.
Right.
Did you hear what she told?
No, I couldn't hear.
So
I live on a gun range. I can't hear much.
Your eardrums are not existent.
No.
So by the time the first time I called, she didn't pick up. So I looked at
Right.
the agent. I'm like, hey, bro, is she on lunch? It's 12.
Yeah.
She's like, he was able to call her.
Right.
So he's like, no, just call back. She answers the phone. She's like, how you doing, sir? I'm like, well, it depends. It depends. Whatever you tell me
Yeah.
is going to say if I'm in a good mood or not. She's like, well, I got bad news for you. Your request was denied. I'm like, I didn't even ask. Like you and I have never spoken before.
They don't even know why we're there.
How is
what we're
my
doing.
request denied?
Yeah.
So you know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Somebody saw us.
Yep.
Somebody called property management. They
Yeah.
complained.
Yeah.
By the time they got there,
Yeah.
and if you've never watched the video, you've only listened to the MP3, to the actual podcast itself, not the videos. I'm 6'1", 205 pounds of muscle, and I'm covered in tattoos. I don't look like a liberal, and I definitely am not. And Stevens is a bit shorter than me, but he looks like he's ex-military.
Yeah.
So if you look at the pictures,
I still walk like a cop.
exactly. So he does not look like a liberal either.
No.
So I got a feeling that this is exactly what happened. They
Yeah.
saw what.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
You know, as you said it, you said something earlier. If we would have been trans people, they would have probably helped us set up the gear. But
maybe so. Maybe so, man.
But-
In this environment now, it sucks.
But I can say it because this is my show. Because we were two white guys, Christian. They looked at us. They're like, yeah, they probably don't have anything we want to be
Associated
attached
with,
to.
right.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
got all to say that we got kicked out. And Stevens is like, you know what? There's two offices that I know around here.
Yeah.
The first one didn't pick up, but the second one did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this has to be one of the coolest places I've recorded a podcast. Last week, I was in Havasu Lake,
Yeah.
or Lake Havasu. I recorded in an AR shop.
Yeah.
Now I am at Scorpion Ammo in Tempe, Arizona. We got the shirts.
Yep.
You see it in the background. I will tag them in this video. And we are surrounded by fucking ammo. This is a place where they manufacture ammo.
Manufacture freedom.
And that's what I said. So we're walking around. We go in the back room where there's literally, I'm salivating because I used to reload my own ammo.
Okay.
They have the machine to produce them.
Right,
I
yeah.
have the cheap stampers that
Yeah.
you like the
The manual.
oh yeah, the Lee one, like the original red one you stamp. And
Right. Right.
So I walk in the back room. There are commercial machines to
Yeah.
make ammo, and
And these guys are great. These guys are great. You know, they bought this company. They're revamping the company. They're ramping up the company.
Beautiful.
We've got a business venture that I'm a part of that we are working together with
Yep.
Scorpion Ammo to help make them blow up. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I meant that in a great way. We want them to blow up, you know, because they're just good, solid people, good American, hardworking people trying to make ammo for everybody, you know. So yeah, so kudos to them. Thank you for letting us do it, Mark and the guys here, and they're just awesome people.
it literally, to me, as a Canadian that left Canada because I don't agree with where the politics are going. I don't agree.
Right.
I don't like the fact that my firearms that I own legally, as somebody that has permits,
Yeah.
I've been trained in this more than police officers.
Yeah.
I take this extremely seriously. I've competed with handguns. It's one of those things that, to me, just represents self-protection.
Mm-hmm.
It represents me being able to protect myself against
Yeah.
entities that don't want me good, that don't want good. And this smells like freedom. As you said, we walked in the back. I'm just looking at the ammo. I'm like, as a Canadian, I'm like, this smells like freedom. This is
I'm
what
home.
Yep, this
I'm
is
home
what
now.
this is what freedom is all about. So as you can see on the video, we have 2 6P 320 handgun.
Yep.
One the carry version, one the full version.
Yeah.
On the table in front of us, you can clearly see it in the middle camera.
Oh, yeah?
Like they're right there.
Yeah.
And then in the back of Stevens, we have a Daniel Defense.
Mark 18. Yeah, with my suppressor.
Like, why the hell am I describing your gun? What do you have in the back of you, man?
It's old too. It's old. I mean, I had this for a long time. I taught a lot of troops with it, special operations troops, and I've had it forever. And it's a DD Mark 18 with my old school Surefire suppressor on it, and it's got lots of rounds downrange with it, and it's a good go-to. You know, it's a short-barreled rifle. It's a registered short-barreled rifle, and I like it.
So normally I start with the same question, and it's been such an interesting day that we didn't even go there. But who are you? What do you do, and why the hell do you do it?
Oh my gosh, that's so deep, dude. you like boom, deep end of the pool.
Yeah, we have to.
Who am I? So yeah, I grew up on the East Coast, and I was a preacher's kid. I grew up in a Christian school, and graduated high school. Before I graduated high school, I signed up for the Air Force, and went into the Air Force. Did some good time in the Air Force. Got a lot of great training, a lot of great exposure. But this is back during Desert Storm. Okay, it was a long time ago for me. And anyway, so basically, I've got a lot of experience in the military and in law enforcement. And I took my I did narcotics investigations and did SWAT work and became a trainer. And I started that journey as a law enforcement instructor and taught all over the place over the years. In 2006, I launched Patriot Outdoors, which was like, it was my baby. You know, I never built a shooting facility before. I had a lot of experience being on ranges and helping others, and I finally put all the plan together and launched Patriot Outdoors, and it turned into an oasis in the right side of New Mexico, in eastern New Mexico. Built this little range that turned out to become a lot bigger. We went from civilians only. I even put a rock gym in my store. I had a rock climbing gym. I had 80 acres of paintball. But you know what? Everybody wanted to shoot. And so we just picked up on training, started training all across the country. And we obviously we were geographically challenged in eastern New Mexico, but I picked up a lot of great instructors, tier 1, tier 2 special operations instructors. We hosted a lot of training for the Air Force, for the Army. A lot of special forces troops came onto our property, and we trained them and let them use our facility, and especially with AFSOC, Air Force Special Operations Command, because there was an Air Force base right outside our door. So we put thousands and thousands of shooters on that facility safely. Not one person in 17 to 18 years that I had that property, not one person shot themselves, got hurt, was shot by anybody else. It was a blessing, really.
Yep. And
we put over 250,000 civilians through training, both in New Mexico and all over the country. 250,000 was my count. And we were training a lot of people.
250,000.
Yeah, over 17 plus years.
But that's a lot.
It's a lot of people, and that's
civilians.
Yeah, that's a lot of civilians, and we had a lot of repeat business too as well. But people came from Texas and New Mexico. We had people come down from Colorado, Oklahoma, and we hosted a lot of events. Anyway, Patriot Outdoors was my literally putting my flag in the ground, and it grew from there. It grew into range consulting and media relations and crisis media management consulting, being able to speak, and it's been a fun ride. And I sold everything in 2018 and moved here to Arizona because Arizona is a great place for the shooting industry.
Okay.
When it still did consulting, I'm still doing training, and I'm working on a very large indoor facility for the Valley and for other places too, other states too. So stay tuned for that. I think that's the first question. What was the second question?
The first question was, who are you?
I think I got that one down.
The second question is, what do you do?
Oh yeah, what do I do? I spoke a little bit about that, but along with who I'm got divorced, got remarried. My first marriage, I have 4 children. I have 5 stepchildren. My wife Holly and I, we go together like peanut butter and jelly. I love her so much. She's a badass, man. She's like a firecracker. I call her my Spitfire because she is.
Yeah.
Very, very corporate. She's in the accounting world, and she's a rock star. I love her to death. Anyway, so that's a little more about me, but I don't know if you need to know that or not. I can't wait for you to meet her sometime because she's awesome. So what am I doing? So I teach. I have a passion for teaching. I also have a passion for helping people win. And on the range, all these years ago, I came up with these little phrases that I just didn't really think much of. And I'm talking like 20 years back, right? Like, hey, man, you got to follow through. Got to follow through, with your front sight. Follow through with your gun. And then I started turning that into, hey, just like in life, dude, we got to follow through with things. We can't just stop here. We've got to follow through. Okay, that's just a simple analogy. Yep. So I started cultivating that, and then there were many people over the years that I've dealt with, whether they were sexual trauma victims, they were abused victims, or they're law enforcement that were involved in shootings, or servicemen, U.S. military that were involved in combat, and basically just give them a shoulder, and not always to cry on. Maybe it was laughing too, but helping people work through their issues. And I don't have a PhD in shit, but I just wanted to be there for people, and we all deal with shit. We all go through things, and being able to get back up. And like I said earlier on the phone, dust ourselves off, but you got back up and you take another step forward and you take another step forward and you get punched in the face or kicked in the nuts for one way or the other in life. And I feel like my mission is to continue to empower people to win. And so I say it on my videos, in life and on the range. And so that's my passion and that's my objective. And there's a lot more to the Gun Life Coach, but that's what I'm doing now, and I'm very happy doing it.
Why do you think, to put it into context, in Canada, my guns are paperweight now. They don't serve any purpose. We can't take them out of a safe. Mm-hmm. And to me, I don't like to be political on this podcast. This is not why it's for, but I do believe in freedom. I believe in the freedom of speech.
Sure.
And I believe in my freedom. Freedom of speech is a natural right. It has not. The government doesn't tell me what I can and cannot say.
Yeah.
It is a natural human right to be able to say my piece.
Right.
And two, it is a natural right to be able to defend myself. And the Second Amendment is an amendment that was written into law by winners. Most people don't realize, but in Canada, we lost our war.
Yeah.
We are still under British rule.
Right.
So this, for a lot of Americans, it's hard to understand. But we are a nation of losers. No, but it shows in the way we carry ourselves. Yeah. We're very relaxed. We don't tend to push too much on what the government does. We don't stand up for a lot of things.
Yeah, and I don't know all the intricacies of what's going on in Canada, but from the other people that I know in Canada, it's sad to see, and it can or will happen in this country
if you guys
let it happen. If we sit back and let good men do nothing. That famous quote. I mean, it's imperative that we have men. I'm not trying to change our conversation, but it's kind of like going with this, right?
But this is exactly, you're reading my mind. This is where I was going with this.
Okay. Yeah. And so with that being said, if we don't have men, if we don't have men with a backbone, if we don't have men with moral conviction, if we don't have men that are willing to do the hard work and stand up and say no, or stand up and speak out, and it doesn't always have to be something so crazy. It's just a matter of being a strong man. Being, and in my book, being a godly man, or trying to be a godly man. We all suck. We all suck. We all mess up. Right? But having a moral conviction to stand up, not only just for what you believe in, but so you can lead others. Because we're all leaders in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes it's your kids. Sometimes it's the dude at the gym. Sometimes it's someone that's following you. Sometimes it's your children and your boys and whoever else is out there. We do make an impact. It could be positive or negative. We definitely don't want it to be indifferent.
The quote you were going to say is, in order for evil to win, the only thing that evil needs to win is good men to do nothing. Yeah.
Thomas Paine, I think.
I don't
Something
remember.
Like that. I can't remember.
I don't remember, but the quote is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it is 100% true. Look around you. And I'd like to have your opinion on this, because especially for the past 5 months, I've been really out there. Like, I'm really getting a lot of flack for what I'm saying. Yeah. And I'm proud that I'm saying it. I'm proud that I'm standing up for this because I believe in it. I believe in it heart and soul. Yeah. I believe that good men need to stand up.
Right.
I believe that it is time for us to stop accepting the craziness that's coming from the left side of the equation. Yeah. And start saying, as a father would his kid, like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, a little smack in the back of the head and just say, whoa, hey, wake up. Yeah. What you're talking about is nonsense. Yeah. We've been sitting back for so long because we got other things to do in our life. We have businesses. We're busy. We have families to run. We're
distracted too.
Exactly.
We're distracted.
But we have not. It is up to guys like you and I to stop and say enough.
Right.
Like, we need to.
On so many levels. It's on so many levels, from a personal level,
Yeah.
even in the home,
Yes.
to what happens
Yes.
in business, to what
Yes.
happens in our society.
Yes, we
And I
need
believe
to
it starts
stand
in
up.
the home, and we could go on for hours on that. But it's very, very true. It's
We
very
need,
true.
because I started saying this, and I'm going to continue saying it louder and louder and louder and
Yeah.
louder. But anybody that's listening to this, anybody that's watching the video, first and foremost, thank you for watching. But the second thing to mention is that being good is not enough.
Yeah.
Being good is not enough anymore. If you are not happy with what's going on around you,
Yeah.
you as one single person can make a difference. It
can.
takes one man to change the world, just one. And the world is changed one man at a time.
Right.
So not only does it only take one, but
Yeah.
the world is always changed one at a time.
Yeah.
So get involved. Get involved. Forget the federal level. Forget the state level. Get involved in your community. This is where changes take place, is
Yeah.
where it matters, where the people
Yeah.
you can reach, you need to talk to them. If you open the news and you don't like what you see in Canada, bro, this is coming your way.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm talking as a Canadian.
Right.
I know hundreds of people that feel the way I do in Canada.
Right.
I know so many ex-military. They're staying in Canada. You know why? Because if shit happens, they want to be there to defend the country.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends that's what they told me off camera. And you know what? Fucking good for them.
Right.
And I believe in the south of the U.S. because you guys are still fucking standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Unlike the northern part that's more like Canada, like you guys
Yeah.
are getting infected. Our craziness is leaking down.
The culture's bleeding.
Oh, the culture's bleeding. That's beautifully said. Like, I like
Yeah.
to think, like, split the U.S. in two at the height of Virginia. Go east to west at Virginia level. Everything that's above that is going crazy.
Yeah.
Everything on that line and lower,
Yeah.
it seems like we're in a fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Texas, Florida, Arizona, and Arizona's changed a little bit, and I don't know
But
all
you
the
guys got to
backstory
be
of
careful
Arizona.
because of California. You guys
Oh
are
yeah, we've got Californians moving in, and they're bringing their politics, which is changing Arizona. If you
Yep.
looked at the elections,
Yep.
that's exactly what's happened. We're a purple state now,
I
But
hate
we
that
have
term. I
we
do
have
not like
so
that
many veterans in Arizona. We have so much of a conservative crowd in Arizona, and then in my world, in the shooting world, I mean, the Phoenix Valley has, like, from what I saw last, the largest per capita of competitive shooters in the country. And they're gun makers here. There's silencer makers
Yeah.
here. All these, everybody from a lot of people in the firearms and a lot of companies from the firearms industry are right here in Arizona. So yeah, there's a great market here in the shooting industry, and if we don't pay attention and stand up and do what's right and stick up for our rights, then we will lose them.
Canada is your future if you don't stand up. And I'm telling you, I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but listen to my words very carefully. Whoever's listening to this time is coming. You are right now, you are in the midst of it.
Yeah, I can see
Don't
it.
wait until it's too far. Don't
Right.
wait until it's too late,
Yeah.
where all the decisions have already been made. It's time to stand up right now. If you're not happy with what you're seeing in Canada, stand up for your rights, because you can tell your government is going after your guns right now.
Oh, yeah.
They've been doing it for years, but
Yeah.
now they're really getting a lot of traction.
Oh yeah.
So it is time, like what you guys did. I don't remember what the bill is that you guys passed in Arizona that says that your local government cannot enforce laws that are passed by the federal government.
I can't remember that bill. That was a year ago,
Yeah.
maybe? I think
Yeah.
it was a year ago
Yes,
that
absolutely.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another one that Governor Ducey put in place during COVID, which was a huge blessing for the shooting industry because they were shutting down companies, right?
Sure.
There was lockdowns and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything. But for survival and for, I guess, Governor Ducey's heart, he said they included the shooting industry
Beautiful.
just to be able to stay open. So
Beautiful.
shooting ranges, gun stores, because people wanted guns and ammo. They wanted guns and ammo and training and memberships. And that was a huge blessing for the shooting industry here in Arizona to put that clause in there.
You know, there's something I want to approach with you, and hopefully you don't get insulted by what I'm going to say, or it's not a subject that's sore to you.
Okay.
But what do you think of what's going on in your schools right now? Like, because this is a very hot topic for you guys. It's been a hot topic for a long time, and I know I have a solution that would fix the problem tomorrow.
Well, that's a very deep subject also, because which direction are we going? But I think based on a little conversation we had earlier, you're talking about keeping kids safe, physically safe,
It
based
is
on active
our
shooters and
most
such.
valuable
Yeah.
resource. As JFK said, children are our most valuable resource.
Yep.
They are the future. If they are not there, we stop to exist.
Right.
So they should be.
Yeah.
The way they are raised should be our main priority.
Yeah.
The way they're protected should be our main priority.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I was briefly talking about, well, I'll touch on that. Yeah, sure. I gave you a part of a story about what happened in Israel in I believe it was 1971. There was an active shooter. They don't think they called it that. They had a terrorist that was attacking a school and killed children. By 1973, that changed. They armed staff. They put people in place, and there was an attempt in 1973. And don't hold me on the numbers on which year it was, because that's when I was born. I was born in '72, but I believe it was a janitor that shot the terrorist that attempted to shoot up the school. And it's things like that could be easily in place. I'm not saying we have to arm every janitor, but you and I both know there are highly qualified veterans that are looking for work.
Yep.
I've known SEALs that are looking for work. I've known, you name it. There are so many valuable resources in our veteran community that would gladly take a position to do what they know what the hell to do, and be able to protect our children in our country. And I know school districts in Texas, I know school districts in New Mexico that have taken that stance and have the ability to do so. But the optics of it are not popular. But we also have the optics of children being dead, teachers being dead. I think that is that's tragic. That's horrifying. And I don't care. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. But it's extremely important for us to protect our schools, protect our children. And there are so many great organizations like Alert, and there are so many law enforcement agencies that have the ability to do that training. But that's law enforcement. That's after the fact. But
it's too late.
It's too late. Even 2 minutes is too late. 2 minutes is too late. So being able to have somebody there, or have certain staff members there, because I also believe that not everyone's equipped and not everyone's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally designed to be able to handle a situation like that.
Agreed.
As much as I promote the shooting industry and people that own firearms, good firearm possession, there are certain people that are not going to be able to handle that, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Agreed.
That's okay. But we also have millions of veterans that could use work, that could do the work, and would gladly stand in the gap.
I wanted your opinion on this because I posted a video a few days. I've been saying this as a Canadian looking down, like looking at the U.S. for years. It was never recorded. It was just my opinion. I talk with my buddies over a cigar, like how easy it would be to fix if you guys simply use the veterans that you have. And this week I recorded a live about it, and I did some research. This is why I'm on my phone right now.
Yeah.
I keep notes of everything that I do.
Right.
So I just want to put it out there on recording with you there, and you tell me what you think.
Sure.
So I posted this video, and all my video says is, you guys want to know how to fix your school shooters? I can give you a solution that will fix it tomorrow. Arm your veterans and put them into schools. That's it. You will never, none of your schools are going to be a soft target anymore. And you will have one shooter that's going to try. He's going to get dismantled. And then your problem is going to be solved.
Yeah.
So I said that. I wanted to see what people thought about it. And you know what? People loved it. I was surprised. I thought I'd be bashed like most of the things that I do.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, the vast majority are like, holy fuck, I never thought about that. This is a great idea. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
So I decided to sit down and actually do research.
Okay.
Is my craziness, does it make sense? So as per the statistics that I could find, wearetheteachers.com says that there are just over 115,000 schools in the U.S., 115,576 to be exact.
Okay.
So, but this is everything. Elementary school, high school, colleges, universities, trade schools, everything. And as per a 2021 census, there's 16.5 million veterans in the U.S. This is crazy. It's 6.4% of your adult population are fucking veterans. Yeah. This to me is nuts. Yeah. It's like you have a massive Liberty Army. It's just 16.5 million veterans in the U.S. right now. This is awesome. That's literally half of fucking Canada.
Yeah.
Put it into perspective. I think Canada were 50, so I'm exaggerating, but it's like a third of Canada
Okay.
are vets. It's crazy.
Right.
Now, one of the questions that came a lot when I asked, when I did this video, and it's a solid question, I'm happy that people ask, what about PTSD? Aren't most military personnel that served in the war traumatized by it? You know, before I looked at the research, I said, you know what? From the people that I know that were special forces, no, they're not. They're fine. Yeah. Those guys, they're very good at what they did because they know why they did it.
Yeah.
So are they going to talk about it to anybody? No. But are they okay? Oh, they're fine. They're fine. Yeah. This is my interpretation.
Okay.
So, but I had to confirm with the statistics. So I went on Veterans Affairs. As per the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, PTSD is slightly more common amongst veterans at 7% compared to 6% with the average individual.
Okay.
Now, there's a different study that came out that said that the numbers are a lot higher than that because that 7% is for the people that do not go through the VA healthcare. If they went through the VA healthcare, as per Veterans Affairs, 10% of veterans that are men have PTSD. 19% of the females have PTSD. As per an external study, it could be up to 23% of veterans have been diagnosed with PTSD. So at 20, let's be the devil's advocate on this one.
Okay.
I will say that 25% of
the 16 million.
25%. Let's say that it's 25%.
Okay.
Now, there's 40% of your vets that are above 65 years old. So they were in Vietnam War. They've been around forever, right?
Yeah.
So those are not necessarily the people you want to be in school.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the guys out there. Thank you for doing what you do. But you're probably, you know what? Prove me wrong.
Right.
But again, I'm playing devil's advocate. So I will say that I looked at the demographic of 18 to 64.
Right.
And it turns out that just over 50% of your vets are between 18 to 64.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? That's 8 million people. That's over 8 million veterans. I will take 25% and I will remove a quarter of it because, again, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
6 fucking million vets between 18 and 64.
Yeah.
6 millions. There's just over 115,000 schools.
Yeah.
If you put 2 vets in every school, that's about 200, just under 240,000 vets that are required. You have 6 millions of them.
Right.
How many of them?
It means you can have shifts.
But the extraordinary thing is that they don't need to be trained. They know how to use their guns. They know the tactics that needs to be used in order to defend an area because they were taught that.
Yeah,
they know
and
how to
there's
interfere
more
with police.
Right, and they can. And well, yes, I agree.
How does that work? Like in
there
your
would
case, because you did both.
Yeah, there would be some good training that would need to be had to be the liaison and the communications and some of the protocols that happened with active shooter. And I'm not an active shooter instructor. Some of my guys are, and they're very, very good at what they do.
You have guys that's what they do?
Yeah, they're active shooter instructors. Yeah, and they work with Alert, which is a very, very awesome organization.
Can I ever talk to them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll give them to you. They're good dudes. So my point is, there would be a good relationship that would be developed from the let's call them the security, the veteran security forces that would need to adapt with communication skills and such, so they know how to communicate with law enforcement on the outside, and that would be and they're the local laws, state laws. Some of these things are going to be different because they'll have their own legislation or whatever. But I think it's not too far fetched to be able to implement something like that. We're talking about dramatically reducing a training curriculum for bringing somebody like that on board, So, yeah, I think that would be a win-win, and not to mention
those are the words that I use. They're in my notes right there.
It's a win-win.
There's a win-win.
Well, and then oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. But you've got so many veterans. You got veterans that are on the fence, just trying to scrape by, and they've got these amazing credentials, and then them adjusting to civilian life. And I went through it. It was a short term short-term thing. I adjusted because I didn't do 20 years.
Yeah.
I had my time and I enjoyed it. And then I learned how to be Steven without a sergeant in front of my name, and but there are a lot of people that struggle with that, and they like the regiment. They love the community. They
Yep.
love their culture.
Yep.
But there are guys that could use work. There's a lot of them that could use work and feel like they have a purpose. And what better purpose than to be able to protect some of them, their own kids. And I know there's stories in this country. And I remember reading them over the years where a veteran went to school to just volunteer.
Yep.
To protect. I think it was in Tennessee or Mississippi or something like that, just to pull security. Because you know why? Because he knew what to do. So I know this is high level. I'm sure there's a lot more intricacies that we could talk about, like how to implement something like that, or how to qualify which person or that. But you don't want some dental hygienist in the Air Force, doing it. But you definitely want people that are appropriately qualified to do it.
I'm a guy that has ideas. I'm not the guy that's going to implement the idea.
Yeah.
But I am somebody that's very outspoken. I'm not scared to say those things out loud.
Right.
And I will research it before I say so.
Yeah.
But this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you are both ex-military and you're both ex-police officer.
Yeah.
You're telling me that the integration between the two would be feasible. Like there's no.
Sure.
Because in my head, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a win-win solution.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to mention is, as per Indeed.com, the average salary of an armed security officer is about $19. I call it 20 for sake of argument.
Sure.
That means that at 20 hours a week, 52 weeks in a year, that's about $42,000. That's just under $42,000 per year that it would cost to pay them. And at 2 per school, you're looking at, so it's $41,600 per guard times 231,152, because I was saying 2 people per school. You're looking at $9,600,000. This is what you're looking at right now. And just to put it into perspective for the Canadians and even the U.S. citizen that don't know how much money your government spend on their yearly budget.
Right.
But your budget for 2023 was 2.46 trillion. And hopefully my French accent is very clear. Trillions with a fucking T.
Yeah.
So you guys have money for it.
Right.
If you don't have money to spend, if you don't have 10 billion, obviously it would be more than 10 billion because you need to implement everything together.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, how is that not a good idea? How is that not feasible? How can somebody debate this and say that it's a bad idea?
Right. I don't know. It boggles my mind. There's so many things that we could be doing at a very low level that doesn't cost a lot of money, and $42,000 a year. I think that would be for a 40-hour work week. You might have said something different, but
no, it is for 40 weeks.
Oh, for 40. Yeah,
it's
for
a
40
hours, 52
so that's
weeks a year.
Full time.
Yes,
but even
absolutely.
if they're doing a part-time job, okay, so they're making $25,000 or whatever they're doing. It doesn't cost a lot. It doesn't cost a lot. But the value in having something like that is priceless, because our lives are priceless and our children's lives are priceless. I'm so thankful that my children are grown. I mean, they're in college or out of college.
Yep.
And they were raised in a very rural community where it's extremely conservative. Lots of land, more land than people, more cows than people. They weren't in the city. And my stepchildren, they're city kids. And they've lived that life, and they do not understand the magnitude of the violence that happens every day, because they're kids. How are they supposed to know that?
Yep.
How am I supposed to relay all of that to them where they would understand that immediately? And it's scary. It's scary.
It's another question that came up when I actually spoke about this online is more guns really the answer? And to the people that are asking themselves that question, keep this in mind. We do not live in a world of fairies and unicorns and rainbows.
Right. Yeah.
This world will kick you in the teeth, bend you over, and fuck you raw if you let it.
Yeah.
This is not a beautiful world that we live. There's a lot of beauty in our world.
There is a lot of beauty in the world.
But there's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, we can't have blinders on.
Where there's evil, there's good. Where there's good, there's evil.
Yeah.
It goes with it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about hiding from it. There's no safe spaces that are going to save you from this.
Yeah.
There is evil in this world.
Yeah. I was talking to some people from Australia, and
guns are banned
right
down there.
Right, and they have this mindset, and I'm not degrading anything, their education or anything like that, because they're extremely intelligent people. In fact, one of the people that we were talking to literally she does psychology, or she's in criminal behavior or cybersecurity, but she has a lot of data on crime, right?
Sure.
And she was saying that, hey, did you know that your zip code in Chandler, Arizona is literally the safest, according to statistics that she had before they moved here. The reason why they moved to Chandler, Arizona
Is because of that.
is because of the lowest crime rate. And I said, and then my wife was talking about how she's, she doesn't want to run by herself at certain times, and she'll carry something. She'll carry a knife at a minimum, sometimes depending on what she's doing. And she's like, but why? You have nothing to worry about.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, hold on. It's one thing to be in the safest city.
Yep.
It does not mean that crime doesn't exist. I've got an app that tells me when there's a felon that just hit a vehicle and cops are chasing him and they're running by my neighborhood. 8 cars were stolen out of our neighborhood. And we have a very nice neighborhood. You can't tell me, we can't ignore that evil doesn't exist. We can't ignore that crime doesn't happen in your neighborhood or in your zip code. And so we can turn a blind eye to it, and hopefully everything is just okay. But what happens typically to when I have new students that come in, Nick, when I have new students that come in, Nico, sorry.
It's better than asshole.
I have seen a majority of those new students that come in because they've been almost punched in the face, slapped in the face with reality.
Yeah.
With, oh my gosh, I almost got mugged. Oh my gosh, I was raped. Oh my gosh, my house was almost broken into. And then all of a sudden, people want to go, okay, what do I do?
Yep.
How about we take a more proactive stance and go, you know what? Maybe I should put a security system. I'm just talking about basic shit. Maybe I need a security system. Maybe I need to teach my kids what to do. I bet you they taught them what to do if something happens in the kitchen with a fire, grab the fire extinguisher. All right, or the house is on fire, they can get out of the house. But if it comes to someone knocking at the door and you didn't order the pizza, or you didn't have DoorDash, or whatever it is, maybe we should just take that pause and go, okay, kids, this is what you should do, and arm them with education first. And so these new students that come in, they come to realize, based on near brushes with death or near brushes with violence, they start to realize that 911 takes too long. God bless law enforcement, but they're not there in that instant. And do you know what the average armed conflict is in this country? The average length of an armed conflict.
It must be 45 seconds, a minute.
No, it is 3 to 5. This is a national statistic based on the Department of Justice, May 2014.
3 to 5 seconds?
3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds.
What?
This is a national statistic that was taken over 30 years. This was in the May 2014 Department of Justice 9mm justification report. I can't remember how many pages it is, but in there it talks about the time, the length, and what happens. All right? So these are law enforcement statistics, but it's also very much true for a citizen. So if you're telling me that the most badass law enforcement officer in your that's around can get there in 2 to 3 minutes, someone's dead, someone's bleeding, someone's hurt, someone's abducted, something's already happened, right? And so my promotion would be to self-protect. Save your own booty, save your own ass if you can, if you have the ability to do so. And yes, there's going to be there'll be people that cannot. There'll be younger children, there'll be older people that cannot, but there are the vast majority that could. Properly, with excellent education, consistent training, just like we go to the gym consistently, we can also train the mind and the body to be able to protect themselves. I'm not saying everyone's got to be a jiu-jitsu guy. They don't have to be Krav. They can do something rather than nothing. And should they make that choice to pick up a firearm and then learn how to flip and use it the way they're supposed to use it, that would be helpful too, in my opinion.
My buddies, the guy that initiated me to firearms told me that from the beginning, because he knows I come from a competitive, a fighting background. Okay. He's like, you know what? A gun, greatest equalizer.
It is an equalizer. You can take a 90-pound female of whatever age.
Yep.
and the disparity of force of her seeing anybody else that comes against her. And I've had my students pull triggers on people. All right. As a concealed carry, teaching concealed carry, and then they go out, and I've had several students over many, many years that have had to pull the trigger. And the majority of those people, of those students, have said, with all that training that I did, not just one and done, but some of these individuals have had years of training. One was like 3 years of training, 12 classes, went out and shot all the time. She said, one of them said, I felt like I barely just did it right enough. I think that was the phrase that she first used when she called me after the shooting.
Yes.
And it didn't happen in New Mexico. It happened in Kansas. And God bless that she was able to make that decision and live through it. And she was unscathed. But I was very thankful that she was able to win that day. Yep. And guess what? The bad guy ran away right to the hospital with a hole in his chest and went to jail. And that's a clear example of someone who's had a lot of training and just did it right enough. Not to mention law enforcement who have way more time in service and time in training, and they're Monday morning quarterbacked for this, that, and the other thing for making a split decision of life and death. And okay, I don't want to get off topic too much, but it's very true that if the person has the training, it's more so than this is a tool. This firearm is nothing more than a DeWalt drill. A DeWalt drill serves a purpose and makes holes.
Agreed.
And so does this firearm. 100%. Do I use my DeWalt drill all the time? No. Do I know how to use it? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Same thing with my firearm. Hopefully, I never have to use it. I never have to use it in a civilian capacity. I hope I never have to again. But I have the mental capacity. I have the ability, and I have the experience that proves that my subconscious performance would be up to par. And that's what people need to realize is the importance of training, the importance of just reading a good book on violence, on criminals. Just arm yourself. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay. It's the coffee.
But what you're saying is 100%. What you're saying is what I've been saying for years from a different perspective. There is a reason why I wanted you to go there. Because you have a military background. I'm not an ex-military. Yeah. You have police. You were a police officer. I was not. Yeah. But I've been saying these things for years.
Oh man, and let me tell you something. I was no badass in the military. I served. I was a cop in the military that became an investigator for the military, working narcotics cases. Got out and did a lot of law enforcement as a civilian. And I've got instructors that work with me that are, oh my gosh, their credentials are phenomenal, and I've been because of my teaching and my experience, I've been able to teach people from all over the world and have been able to glean a lot from my instructors and the way that I've developed my teaching abilities to be able to translate knowledge, skills, and attitude to special operations troops. And, I've done a lot of special operations training for that community, as well as law enforcement and then civilians. And it's just a blessing that I've been able to create a resume, with my background to serve, to continue to serve my community or my country, however you want to put it. And I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a dude. Just a guy. There's so many people that are some of the SEAL buddies that I have that literally people are writing books about these guys, and they're humble and they're great, and I'm just doing what I can do where I can with what I've got.
Hopefully you're paying attention to what he's saying, because he's basically saying that he is not special. He is just another dude. That means that if you're hearing this and it speaks to you, you have the power to do the same. You have the power to go to a shooting range, to go to a school that will teach you how to shoot a gun. You have the power to go to a martial arts school to give you the skills you need in hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
You have the responsibility to own those skills, because one, as a man, you're the protector of your family. Right. I believe this first and foremost at home. You are the protector. Right. You are disposable to protect your family. As a man, I believe it to my core. If you are a man that needs to protect his family, that means you need to know how to fight. You need to know how to use a firearm. If you know how to use a firearm, it is up to you to protect other people if you can as well. One of my buddy from JTF2, which is the equivalent of your Navy SEALs in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
we've had multiple podcasts because I look up to this guy. This guy's such an he's one of the calmest guy you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
But he is, holy fuck, he's a monster.
Is he?
Oh, he's capable of being one, but
Yeah.
he is the most relaxed guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
What's up, Randy? And one of the things that he said is, if you are confronted with a situation where you do not know what to do, even if you're not directly involved, but you're walking down the street, there's this woman getting attacked by a guy.
Yeah.
If this type of situation scares you to a point where you cannot act, that you can't do anything, this should be your wake-up call. This should be your wake-up call to do something.
Yeah.
You should learn, because he does similar to you. He runs a school in Ottawa, Ontario,
Yeah.
where he trains police officers, where he trains military, where he trains average, regular people.
Yeah.
But he does this is why you guys would hit it off, because he does what you guys do, the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys sound very alike too.
Yeah.
Just saying. And what he says is that if you do not know how to react to that situation, it is your responsibility to go learn. And the day that you own those skills, it is your responsibility to help.
Yeah.
And this, I could not agree with him more.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the question that I have for you.
Okay.
I made a video, 1.5 million views that I think it ended up having.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, there was a social experiment done in an elevator where a woman with a child, so a young child, probably 2 years old,
Okay.
she was holding him in her arms. And the social experiment is she's there with her child, and there's a random dude in the elevator that's grabbing her.
Mm-hmm.
He's grabbing her, trying to smell her hair. He's trying to grab at the kid.
Oh.
And she's being vocal. She's like, hey, bro, leave me alone. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing? And the social experiment is to see what the people in the elevator will do.
Yeah.
Out of a 5-minute clip, I would say that there's only one group of young men that did something. All of the other ones stood there, did nothing, just observed, and left, never said anything. But almost every single woman that was there did something. So,
What does that tell you?
well, so I posted a video and I was angry at
Yeah.
this.
I bet.
Because this to me is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
This to me is terrible.
Yeah.
If-
Oh my gosh.
And you know, it blew my mind. I took a week off social media after this because I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there would be some cowards out there. I knew it. You know, we are all born cowards, but remaining a coward is a choice.
Yeah.
I was a coward before I learned martial art, before I learned to defend myself, before I learned how to handle a knife, firearms.
Yeah.
I was a coward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer a coward, so that you can change. But what I could not believe is that I was calling out those young men saying, those are cowards.
Mm-hmm.
What would have happened if that woman there was your sister, your mother, your wife,
Yeah.
your daughter,
Right.
your grandmother, your aunt? What would happen then? Would you not hope that somebody would help her?
Correct.
And
if you weren't there. Yeah.
And the comments are like, women are feminists now. They can handle themselves. They don't need men anymore. The other portions are like, oh, this is a social experiment and they knew. I'm like, yeah, fuck you.
Right.
In a fraction of a second, if you're not trained, you don't fucking know. I'm telling you right now, if you're confronted with that, your first instinct is not, oh, where's the camera? No, fuck you. You're saying this because you're looking at a footage.
Right.
But what blew my mind is I have to say 80 to 85% of people called me names, said that I was crazy for saying that they should help, that it is not their responsibility to help others because we live in a selfish society now, that women do not, because a lot of women out there are feminists, they don't deserve for us to help them anymore. What do you think about that? Is that surprising to you? Is that something that...
No. Unfortunately, it's not surprising. And there's so many thoughts that I had. I'm going to try to keep track of them all. It goes back to what we said earlier about being a good man. You have people now that'll watch something happen on the street, and their first instinct is to get their phone out to record it.
Oh, man.
As opposed to helping the police officer that's fighting for his life with some crackhead that's on the ground, right? or whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be law enforcement involved. People don't want to get involved. You know why? That's their bubble. We are so selfish. We are so selfish and so distracted and so self-contained. And we have been groomed in this society to comply. We have been groomed society to not get involved, as you said. And there are very few that will stand in the gap and go, you know what? No more. This is not right. That is not good. And when they see it, you hit it on the head. You know, they cower away from it as opposed to standing up and doing what I was raised to think like is to stand up and do something about it, make a difference. I wouldn't want anybody to be harmed in this elevator situation or whatever. Like, if it's going to start there, where's it going? But that's just how I think. Okay, if it's going to start with a butt grab or smelling her hair, come on. How is that normal? How is that? You know it's not normal. You don't have to be trained to anything. You know that that's not normal. So do something about it. Speak up. But we have been groomed in society, and men today have been neutered over the years by complacency, by laziness, by selfishness, being distracted with video games and whatever else that's under the sun that's distracting men these days to not do something about it. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off. I see it all the time. I've seen it in LA. I've seen it on the streets. Wherever I've been, people would rather not do something.
And, you know, all I could think is if I would have been in that elevator, that actor would have been in the hospital because I wouldn't have asked questions.
Yeah.
Because for all I know, he has a knife. For all I know, he has a gun. If he's going to behave like this, I'm knocking him out. No questions about it. I'm not even voicing anything. If you're doing this, somebody tells you to stop, I start looking. You do it again, you're out, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not even asking questions. I will make sure that I can turn your lights out. I'll empty your pockets. I'll call the cops and I'll sit on you. I'll choke you out if I have to make sure you're unconscious by the time they get there.
Yeah, you neutralize them.
But there's no, in my book, there's nothing else. There has to be consequences to those actions. And those actions are only possible because those kids are raised to believe that this is normal behavior.
Yeah.
Because they've never been smacked in the back of the head. Like Mike Tyson says this all the time, that one of the biggest problems we have in society is people don't get punched in the face anymore.
Yeah.
They're keyboard warriors. You know how many times online I've been threatened to get my ass kicked.
Yeah, while he's sitting in his underwear in his mother's basement.
I'm like, bro, you're a basement dweller.
Yeah.
I have more than 20 years of martial art experience. Name your fucking poison. How do you want me to hurt you?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah, they've got a lot of balls when they're on a keyboard.
Yeah, but yet I'd knock to your door. How much you want to bet that they would not get out that basement?
They wouldn't answer.
No.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, and those are the guys that are saying that, oh, I don't have to defend women.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sad. It's very sad. You'd be more of a man. Whoever's debating you online would be more of a man to say, you know what, come sit and have coffee with me. Tell me what, and have an adult conversation about your disagreement. But they can't. They can't look you in the eye.
No.
They can't stand toe to toe with you.
No.
And they don't want to. You know why? Because it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncomfortable, and they've not been faced with any level of violence. Their violence has been somebody yelling at them because they got their coffee wrong at Starbucks or whatever. You know, it's sad.
So I've been pondering this for a very long time now because one of the reasons I do what I do, one of the reasons I'm here right now is because I was raised without a father, and it had a tremendous impact. Like when he left, like he wasn't present when I was young.
Okay.
But when my parent got divorced at 14, he left and I saw him a handful of time afterwards. I went on a very bad path for 6 and 7 years. Luckily, I'm out of it and I've completely changed. But this taught me how important a father figure, a role model, a strong masculine man is needed in the life of a boy.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I thought that the biggest problem in society is the fact that we lack strong men. We lack good men. But recently, I was pondering this once again, and I came to the conclusion that the biggest problematic that we have in our society today is not a lack of good men, because this is a symptom. This is a side effect.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think, but I believe that the biggest problem we have in society today is that we do not want to take responsibility for everything. We do not take responsibilities for our actions. We don't take responsibilities for our reactions. We don't take responsibilities for our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want to own who we are.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could admit that. You know, I'd like to think that I was a great father to my kids growing up, and I believe, based on the outcome that I have seen from my sons, they're way smarter than me. Thank God, they're way smarter. They're very well equipped. But oh my gosh,
What do you mean by well equipped?
Well
For
equipped.
the ladies out there.
I don't really know about that now. I haven't changed their diapers in 20 some years. But I think they're well adjusted, well equipped. I love them to death. And God bless them for them being able to, you know, they went through divorce. Obviously, you know, when their mother and I got divorced, I mean, that was hard. That's hard. And, but I'm sure I've screwed up countless times as a father, but at the same time, looking at what, who they have become, I mean, it'll put me to tears, dude, because they're just amazing men. They're just amazing men. And I'm very grateful for them. I love them to death. And my daughter's in college, and it's I've got a soft spot for my kids, bro. I do. And my stepchildren.
As you should.
Yeah, and my stepchildren too. You know, it's having a blended family, and me coming in and taking responsibility and role as a stepfather. It's very challenging. It's very evolving, and you're learning kids. And God bless girls. Oh my gosh, teenage girls. Wow, they are amazing, and they're scary, and they have way more emotions than boys do. I mean, everybody has emotions, but I'm just learning all of that. I guess my point of all that was, you're right. You're right. People don't want to take responsibility, and you know why? Because it's just like what I said earlier. Because it's hard.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't want to embrace that and step up to the challenge of that, because it's easier now to check out. It's
course.
easier now to cancel out, and maybe I'm sure we've all done that. I know I've done it at times, but getting back to that and stepping up and being able to go after your kids and just show them that you love them in any way that you possibly can, and try to be that example. It's important. It's important for us to do that, and it's hard. It's very difficult. But what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I mean, you can walk back, you can walk out and walk away and let these kids figure it out, like so many kids today have to do without a father figure. Just be there for your kids as much as you can, whenever you can, with whatever you've got.
Is there something you want to talk about? Because we spoke before about what your projects are, what you're working on right now. Is there something you want to put out there? Like, do you want to shamelessly talk about what you have on the go? Because you talked about owning working at a gun range
working on a
for
shooting
17
facility.
or 18 years.
Yeah.
What are you working on now?
Yeah. So the Gun Life Coach was, I do want to speak on this because I don't think I've ever really talked like this before. So if you'll indulge me real quick.
Take your time.
So Patriot Outdoors was my shooting facility, and now it's a training company without a shooting facility. And during COVID, I was working on an acquisition for a company, and it went south during COVID because they started making a lot more money, and I had to exit. It taught me a lot. I was a year and a half into that project and had to step away from it, from buying this company out. And actually, it was a blessing. But
nice.
Dude, I was hurting, man. Life kicks you in the nuts,
Yeah.
or sometimes from behind,
Yeah.
and it hurts.
Yeah.
But I've had this thing that I've developed over the years to where, when I feel down or when I'm really low, for some reason, I don't know. I guess this is just God giving it to me, but I said, you know what? I might be hurting, but maybe I can do something for someone else so they're not hurting, or maybe I can help somebody else in some way, shape, or form. And that's where the Gun Life Coach started. I sat back, had a lot of talk with God, had a lot of time to contemplate, what I wanted to do. And so I developed a personal brand for the Gun Life Coach. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go back in my arsenal, if you will, and use what God's given me in my limited experience in this, that, or the other thing, or my expansive experience on this, that, or the other thing, and I'm going to try to put it together in a package that I can help somebody. It wasn't help this organization or that organization. I just want to help somebody. I want to help somebody win. You know, because maybe I'm not winning right now, but maybe I can help somebody else win, because there's information, there's experiences, good, bad, ugly, shitty, or whatever, that I've been able to go through that may be able to help somebody, you know, men, women alike. And that's where the Gun Life Coach came from, is to put all of my experience and the life that I've had to help others win in life and on the range. And so that's where the Gun Life Coach came from. And I'm really looking forward to continue ramping that up and helping it grow. Not just talking about this gun or that gun, but there's so much more to it than that. And we've talked about other subjects as well. But what I'm working on right now is the Gunner Project. It's called the Gunner. And it's an indoor shooting facility. We want to launch 8 to 10 of these across the country or more over time. And the first one's here in the Valley, and we're getting much closer on it. We're still on a little bit of a cap raise to it, but it is a phenomenal facility, and it's a big disruptor in the industry, because we're not just a gun range. We've got some very interesting people and organizations that are connected to the Gunner. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but I did tell you about it, but we're going to keep it a secret for now.
No worries,
but
man.
it's going to punch the Valley in the face when we launch, because I'm the COO of the company. I'm going to be able to run that company. I've got some amazing business partners with some badass backgrounds, and we put this, let's call it entertainment and educational experience where people can see a community. And because we're people. It doesn't matter if it's a gun range or a skating rink back in the 80s, but people like the community and the social community and what we can do to help people win and have a great time doing it in a very productive, safe manner. I'm very thrilled about the project, and we've been working on it. I've been on it. I was brought into the project based on my background, and so it's been about 1.5 years now. And we've had, just like anybody else trying to open up, all you entrepreneurs out there, you know what it's like. It's up and down. It's a roller coaster every day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're there. Oh my God, we're not. Oh, here we go. There's a loop. And it goes up and down. And God bless my wife for putting up with me for being on this journey, because it's like I said, a roller coaster.
Yep.
But I feel as though that's where I need to be at, and I love our mission. And the goal of it, and to be able to reach people the way we're going to be able to reach people with education and entertainment. And we'll have firearms there for sale as well. But it's pretty badass. It's pretty badass. It's called the Gunner. And so I'm working on that, and anybody that's listening can reach out to me, and they can get a hold of me. I can tell them more about it if they're interested. So,
how do they reach out to you?
You can go to thegunlifecoach.com. You can look me up on YouTube and social media. But that's my website. And then if they're wanting training, because I still have lots of instructors. I have about 40 some instructors that are around the country that are in my network or more, whether there's tier 1 or tier 2 operators, special operations operators, or they got this badass law enforcement, federal law enforcement or civilian law enforcement career. I've got some really great people that are in the industry that are literally professors at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You can always go to an average gun range and get an NRA instructor here or there, and I'm not bashing the NRA at all, but it's like the lowest level of qualification of my instructors.
There's levels to this game.
Yeah, there is. It's a very big difference, and there's the reason why there are costs associated with, because you're getting. Do you want to go and have a kindergarten teacher teach you, or do you want someone that's a professor at a university teach you?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the politics aspect. I'm talking about, these guys have been in the trade. They're gunfighters. They're gunfighters, and they're very respectable, and they've got a lot of experience under their belt, and they know how to communicate effectively to help people win and learn the skills that they need. So that's at patriotoutdoors.com. And so that's it, man. That's what I'm doing. And I'm so thankful that we met, dude. It's been a lot of fun. And I can't wait for some more.
Yeah, I can tell you that this is just the beginning. I had a feeling we'd get along. I have a few ideas that I think we can work on. Cause
sure.
My goal. I think I told you this before, but my goal is to help other men like you get more exposure. I want to bring good men to the forefront.
Yeah.
This is just what I do. I'm an enabler.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I talk loud. I'm not scared to say whatever needs to be said, and I'll debate anybody out there.
That's good, dude. That's
But
good. I love it, dude. I love your content.
I will take the heat.
Yeah.
This is why I am the way I am.
You've been listening to the Nico Lagan Show. Nico has been involved in the martial arts for 20 years. He's a Muay Thai coach, focus coach, podcaster, and sought-after public speaker. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten some useful and practical information. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Nico Lagan and on YouTube at The Nico Lagan Show. See you next time.